Hello, welcome to The Real Bit Wars. I'm Chris, and today we have a theme to our episode. I'll show you my first pickup, which is Once Upon Atari by Howard Scott Warshaw. And the reason for this is this book inspired the rest of the pickups that you'll see today. So if you don't know who HSW is, he worked for Atari during their heyday, and he programmed some of their best sellers. Most notably, he also made E.T., which is credited for causing the video game crash of '83, although it's not really true if you truly think about what happened. So I've always felt like he got a bit of a raw deal. I'm not the type of guy that memorizes the names of a lot of people involved in video games. Although I really love this stuff and I collect it, I just don't really get to know these people, but he's kind of one exception to that for me personally. So I strongly recommend checking this out. It's fantastic. It chronicles his time with Atari as well as other endeavors he's had both in the video game industry and outside of it. I learned quite a few things while reading this. There was some stuff I didn't even know existed that I had to get my hands on. So let's show the rest of the pickups while we're at it. The first and most obvious one would be Once Upon Atari was also a documentary series. One of those other endeavors that Warshaw had was filmmaking. This, however, is a little bit rough. These are really nothing more than interviews. It's not really a full documentary. It's difficult to track down, and it can be very expensive. So I would say skip this. Unless you're really intrigued by it, I would suggest maybe looking online to see if you could find it somewhere. But tracking down this DVD is not worth the effort. So after reading the book, I decided I would like to get all of Warshaw's 2600 games complete in the box. So although I already had Yar's Revenge, I went ahead and got this one. A very big reason for that, this is touched upon in the book, that back then, if you were a programmer for a company, everything you did was released in the name of that company. You did not receive credit for anything. And that's a practice we even saw later on that Sega did during the days of the Genesis. And it might seem kind of odd, but yeah, it was normal back then. So Warshaw actually was very clever. He suggested to his higher-ups that they do a comic book. And regulations for comic book writing are different from that of a video game. So he had to be credited in the comic book for writing the story. So he was actually the first person to ever get credit for programming a video game. Another thing I learned while reading the book is that Yar's Revenge was actually ported to the Game Boy. So I picked this up as well. This is actually a very nice port. It puts a little bit of a different twist on it, expands on it just ever so slightly, but keeps the essence of the game intact. And if you're a fan of the original, you will definitely enjoy this. Also, the cutscene in this game actually features that picture that you see in the comic book, which I thought was a nice touch. But while I was seeking this out, I actually discovered that there was another port of Yar's Revenge. So I picked that up. It's actually on a 3-pack with Pong and Asteroids. This one's not nearly as good as the Game Boy version, so I would definitely go with that over this. But this one then, in turn, also inspired a couple of additional pickups because there were more of these 3-packs for the GBA. This one has Millipede, Super Breakout, and Lunar Lander. And then this one has Centipede, Breakout, and Warlords. And I would say Warlords was probably the game I enjoyed the most out of all of these on the Game Boy Advance cartridges. You could probably skip these, but yeah, the Warlords was okay. I didn't mind that one. Another thing mentioned in the book that I decided to pick up was a Blu-ray of Atari Game Over. This is a fantastic documentary about the excavation of the E.T. cartridges that were buried in a landfill. I'm not going to give you a review of this for the simple fact that I did so already. You can go on our channel. I'll put a link in the description, but back in 2015, I watched this and did a brief review of it, so check that out. But it was good enough that I decided I also wanted to own it on Blu-ray. But I do believe you can watch this on different streaming services, so if you don't want to fork over the cash for the Blu-ray, that is definitely a good alternative. On to my favorite pickup. So we all know that Warshaw programmed Yar's Revenge, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and E.T. But did you know that he actually made a 4th game on the 2600? So I ordered this, Saboteur, complete in the box. This is actually like a homebrew. It did not come out until more recently. So this was originally a game he was developing. The people at Atari then asked him to change it into a licensed game based off of the TV show The A-Team. Everything kind of fell through with Atari. They stopped making 2600 games, Warshaw left, and it wasn't until years later that he released this actual original version that he had planned without the A-Team license on it. So I did take this out of the box, but I haven't actually opened this up and taken a look at it just yet. So this is from Atari Age. They usually do have those stickers. So obviously I have not played this yet. I think that they really captured the look of the old boxes with it. That's a nice touch there too. It says Atari on the flap. The label has the same image as the box. And the manual. Again, they really went all out. This is good quality stuff here. This looks kind of similar to the Yar's Revenge character there. Yeah, and right there, Yarfly. Picture of some gameplay there. But I found out about that book through an interview I read with Howard Scott Warshaw, and I thought it was odd that he was in the news, and it turned out, yeah, he had released that book recently, and I had to check it out. And I guess this whole video has just been sort of a tribute to him. And hold it just one moment, my dude. Before we go, I got you a little something for the video as well. Looks like we got one more pickup. Atari Graphics. That seems like a very fitting beer for today's episode. Thank you, Duff.
Oh, don't mention it. It's no problemo, bro.
Let's check this one out. Ooh, that's a little on the hazy side. Nice creamy head. So, this is brought to us by G5 Brewing Company. We love how everything from the past is making a comeback. Don't be fooled by the name. This is a new school IPA, dripping with juicy mango and subtle white grape flavors. The super hazy IPA still carries some of that old school bitterness that made IPAs popular back in the day. Sip, relax, and reminisce of the days of late you spent playing Berserker, Asteroids, and Pac-Man. Amen to that. And cheers to Howard Scott Warshaw, to HSW. Thanks for watching The Real Bit Wars. That's a good beer, too. Hello, welcome to The Real Bit Wars. I'm Chris. I gotta clean my glasses off. But for the